It is once again time to a Fractured Space ship review, and this time we're taking a look at the Black Widow. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fractured Space. Today we're taking a look at the Black Widow. It's another cloaking ship from the USR. But let's go ahead and let's start by having a quick look around the ship. It looks pretty good, I think. I like this model. It's very streamlined. And it really fits within the USR theme, I think. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's have a look at the loadout of the ship so we can see what kind of ship this is. So first, let's start with this. This is, of course, the quick cloak. It's pretty much a standard cloaking device. There's nothing special about this. It has a 5-second cooldown, which is pretty good. So you can decloak fairly quickly. You can cloak again after you decloaked fairly quickly. And of course, as with many of the other cloaks, it drains energy whenever you're moving. And then when you're sitting still, you can then recharge your energy. But again, you only drain energy when you're moving while cloaked, of course. If you move normally, you don't drain energy. So keep that in mind, that you will need a very energy efficient crew. We're gonna go with the crew in a bit to increase your range so you can stay cloaked for longer. Let's go ahead and look at the main weapons. The main weapons are magazine loaded weapons. That means you have a magazine. In this case, you can see here 12 shots, and you have a magazine refire interval of 0.42 seconds. So there's just under half a second between each shot, so that comes fairly rapidly. And each canister in the magazine fires a volley of 2 shots that does 100 damage each. And we see a base cooldown is 24 seconds. But remember, each canister has a separate cooldown. So the 24 seconds doesn't start the moment you emptied your magazine. It starts as soon as you fire the first one. It will then start a 24-second counter for the first shot. And then when the next fires, it starts a 24-second counter for the second shot. And they all are all completely separate. So keep that in mind. There are 2 variants of this weapon. There's the quick-fire ones that sacrifices a little bit of alpha damage to give you faster rockets and also a faster refire interval, so you can get that magazine out faster, and they will get to the target faster, making it a little bit easier to shoot at people from range. And you can see they both actually have pretty good range, 15 kilometers. You can decloak and shoot at people from over 10 kilometers away without any problems, given that you can hit them. But if you're planning to be a cloaky sniper, you probably want to go for the quick-fire missiles that get to the target a little bit faster. Then we have the quad rockets. They have a very long magazine refire time, but you get more rockets. So again, you sacrifice alpha DPS because you see, even though you get more rockets out, who still does the same amount of damage. So you get more damage per magazine, but it will take you longer to empty your magazine. You can see 1.27 seconds, and in this case 0.42 seconds. So this is a little bit more for sustained fire, and I could see this being potentially good just due to the increased amount of damage that you can do with a magazine, even though it does take you a lot longer to empty that magazine. Let's move on. And let's look at your secondary weapon. You have a weapon disrupt, again 12 kilometer range, that's pretty good. And in this case, it shut down the enemy weapons for 1 second, and it slows the ship down by 30% for 5 seconds, with a 30-second cooldown. The alternative versions, same range, same cooldown. You still get the 1 second disarm, but now instead of slowing the ship by 30%, you now drain 500 energy from the enemy ship. So, do we want to slow them down? Do we want to keep them in place? Or do we want to drain their energy? That's pretty much the choices you have here. Cloak, we already talked about that. And then you have 2 different missile solutions. So both of them come with 3 different options. So that's a total of 6 different missile solutions that you can choose from. First one is the drain missile. It does, again, 15 kilometer range, just as with the main weapon. Volley of 8, and I think that's the same for all of them. Yeah, same range, same volley, and same speed for all of them. And cooldown should also be the same. Yes, cooldown is the same. So the only difference is the type of damage they do. This one does 100 damage and drains 200 energy per missile. Remember that, that's per missile. Here, You also do 100 damage. You disable all their abilities for 2 seconds, and I don't think those stack. So those are just from the last missile hit, you get 2 seconds. And then it slows the ship by 3.125%, and that's per missile. I don't think the ability shutdown is per missile, because then you get 16 seconds ability shutdown. I think that's, I don't think that works that way. But I'm pretty sure that the slow effect does stack. And then the last one is, of course, 5% decrease to the target ship flight model per missile again. Is this actually per? I'm now in doubt if this is actually per. If this 2 seconds is actually per missile that hits, because then it's 16 seconds. That's pretty good. But anyway, in this last missile solution here, for the first one, we get a 5% slow to the enemy ship. Again, per missile, that stacks up to a total of 40%. So once you combine these two, you can get a very effective slow. You can pretty much grind them to a halt. For the second set of missiles, you can either choose armor-breaking missiles that does 188 armor damage per missile. Again, 50-second cooldown, same range as these up here, and still 8 missiles. So they're pretty much exactly the same, all of these, but you can only, of course, choose one of these and one of these. Then you have plasma missiles. They do slightly more damage, but it's over time. So instead of doing 100 damage, you now do 20% extra, 120 damage. Over 3 seconds, and it says there that is stackable up to 8, which is of course the total volley. So this is just if you want to increase that damage, though I think that the armor breaking is a much more efficient way to go, because it just increases your damage from your main weapon so much when you're able to strip people's armor. And then you have the hackfire missiles. You sacrifice a lot of damage. You're down 40% of your damage. But it increases the cooldown on enemy weapon fire, so it's going to reduce their output damage significantly, and we can see it's just over 4% per missile. That puts you up to around 30% reduction in enemy weapon fire for 12 seconds, which is a lot. It really, these are definitely the best down here. These are kind of my secondary, but I still think the armor. I like the armor piercing the most, but I guess that depends on what type of build you're going for. So that's the loadout. Let's go ahead and let's look at crew members. I got a Black Widow crew here that I've gone for. As you can see here, all of them has energy regen plus 1.5% implants. I have that on all of them, because when you're moving, you really want to be able to recharge that energy as much as you can, as fast as possible, because you don't want your energy to run out while you're cloaking. So that's why I've gone for as much energy regen as I possibly can. Then all of them have also 1.8% increase to attack damage, because again, you want to get that attack off. And the rest is just, what I had lying around. So a little bit of jump, a little bit of armor. It was really just utility cooldowns, also very good. Go for some of those, and some damage reduction. There's a really up to you, but I like go for the energy regen, and also as you can see, I got it with a crew member here. Has good energy regen as well. So that's the crew that I've gone for. But anyway, I think that's enough talk in the hangar. Let's go ahead and watch this ship into real combat. And before we do that, I should probably say that this was recorded a couple of weeks ago, actually. So that's why the change of lighting and everything when we switch over. But let's go ahead and let's see this thing in some action. And we are off. So, right off the bat, I'm cloaking up the ship here, just because we don't want people to spot us. They can of course spot the blink, and if they know the team list, they will know that we're here, but it reduces the chance that we're being spotted right as we jump in. Notice here how my energy is draining when I'm moving. So as long as you have your cloak active, you're moving, your energy will be drained. So it's a good idea to put a good energy crew in this ship. As soon as I'm sitting still, my energy will recharge even though I have my cloak active. So okay, I haven't engaged these two guys. We have the Raider and the Brawler, and they're currently being engaged by our Reaper. But now that they are heavily engaged, I open up on the Brawler, because he's the one doing the most damage, especially at this kind of range. Get some drain missiles off, take off all his energy. He's absolutely no energy right now. He's at very low health. I'm waiting for my my canisters to recharge. There we go, and he is down. Now we just have the radar. And a ship at this range, and he has a shield up. There's not a lot I can do. All I can do is really wait for him to recharge. You see those armor breaking there. They did a little bit of damage and managed to get them around his shield. I'm trying here to get around the rock. I really want to break line of sight to this guy, allowing me to cloak up, giving me the upper hand. But he knows what I'm trying to do. You see me try to cloak there just to get around the rock, but he managed to get an attack in. But now my weapons are recharged. I fire an armor-breaking salvo of missiles, taking down his armor, and begin to empty my magazine. It's not quite enough. I'm still maneuvering heavily to try and avoid most of the incoming damage. He's on very low health, and I managed to cloak up here as the Reaper comes back. He is trying to get away, and I'm not letting him, so I decide to decloak and fire off a shot even before my canisters are fully recharged. You can see them there at the bottom of the screen recharging, and you really should try to only attack once all your canisters are recharged, unless you have an enemy at very low health that you're pretty sure you can kill with the shots that you have. Same situation here as before. Someone else is engaged, so this is a good chance for me to uncloak and get that extra high alpha damage, high volume of damage in, and then cloak up again. Wait for my weapons to recharge, with my weapons, my missiles to come back. Now we have 3 ships in here. The Black Widow really excels fighting a single component at a time, because if there are multiple components, you might not be able to attack them. What you see me do here is I have a rock right next to me, allowing me to slip back behind the rock, use that to break line of sight and decloak my ship again, now waiting for my weapons to recharge. The Colossus here is taking a lot of damage. It looks like he's trying to turn around to get out of here. I'm trying to get around the rock here to try and engage him. You can see here the super lifter is now coming in, beginning to heal him, so this is, I really have to engage this guy either right now, but I'm gonna risk getting killed by the super lifter. So instead I hold back for a little bit, and now I see him jump, so I cannot resist. I attack, and I think he managed to get out there. Yes, he does. So I attack the super lifter instead. He begins to jump as well. Just as I fire all my missiles with very low health, it looks like they're all jumping into Gamma. I might not have killed any of those guys, but they are now both on very low health, and Gamma's unlocking in 30 seconds. That means those 2 ships, with the 2 ships we have in there, and it looks like we're gonna have 2 more ships incoming to Gamma. I decide to stay here because I know 2 of their ships is already pretty badly damaged, and we are now 3 ships in here. Hoping for a 4th pretty soon, so I'm expecting that they're going to be able to take down those 2 ships very quickly. We can see actually the brawler. There goes the raider. So now it's just the Colossus and the super lifter, which were the 2 ships that I engaged. That goes the super lifter. Now we only have the Colossus left. I'm waiting to capture this station before I jump. It seems like my team got Gamma covered, and indeed, there we go. We capture Gamma just as I get the home base. I decide to go in here just to get the little bit of damage in on the brawler, allowing my team to get out of here without being attacked by any enemy ships. There we go. We've now completely cleared Gamma, and we got that forward station that I capped. I'm waiting for my jump drive to come off cooldown so we can jump into the enemy base. Expecting right now to see most of the enemy team at their base, considering that 3 of them are alive. We have not spotted any of them in any sectors. They're not trying to reclaim Alpha. But for some reason there's only 1 of them here right now. I guess the rest of them are still jumping in. It's the Displacer, I think, if I recall correctly. It looks like the Displacer. So I shoot an armor-breaking salvo. This is really by far my favorite salvo. Use the energy drain later here. Problem is now they have reclaimed Alpha. You cannot cloak up in the enemy base, even though no one is shooting at you. As long as if you don't have jump access, you cannot cloak up in the enemy base. And this is why I'm jumping out now, because the Black Widow that cannot cloak up between its salvo that have to stay visible is a pretty dead Black Widow. So that's why I jumped out here. There was really no one in inside the circle or inside the bubble. We were not really in a position where we could really press our advantage for having that. So I decided just to get out of there to save my ship and to save my Gamma buff and use the opportunity here that they're still having trouble trying to get those 2 ships down. They don't want to leave the comfort of their of the bubble from their base and all their station guns, but people are falling back, really buying us a lot of times, allowing us to go out and get some of these mining stations. You can see I'm not shooting these mining ships yet. I want to wait until I get inside the bubble. So I found one, target lock it, and all my missiles just go straight through him. Not really sure what the hell's going on there, but anyway, I abandoned that mission and move on to the next one. I decided, okay, maybe I was just unlucky with that one, and I'll try again. And this time we are a little bit more lucky. We're actually able to do some damage. There we go. Looks like the hitbox on those guys are quite a bit smaller than the actual animated model. But anyway, we have captured 2 mining stations, and now we are moving forward, trying to unlock jump access to the enemy base. We can see we managed to cap 11%. Not that much considering the amount of time we actually spent when we have had members at the enemy base. And there we go. We just lost a ship, and I expect from the position that the ship that is left at the enemy base is the Watchman, our sniper. And here we see people jumping out of their base, believing that they're safe with the Watchmen at so long distance, but they are all badly damaged. So when they get in here, they are pretty much just... This is just a dream when you're in a Black Widow. Having badly damaged ships fly right next or jump in right next to you, one at a time. That's just the dream. So we managed to get the jump access. They just lost 2 of their ships. So this is a good situation where we might be able to get a few more points. We see the brawler here running back towards the base. Clearly do not try to avoid damage from the Watchman. Displays and respawns. I don't want to move in over the middle of the base because you take a lot of damage if you go in there. So try to stay out here at the edge. Begin to get some damage in on the displacer. There we go. He's dead. Again, falling back a little bit. Here comes the super lifter again. Armor breaking missiles off cooldown, firing those. Firing the last of my missiles, or my main weapons here. We see not quite enough to kill him, but luckily my teammates managed to get him down. I think that was the... no, it was actually me that got the final blow. Here comes the Raider again. Now they're all respawning, and there we go. Finally, that's my point here. A Black Widow that cannot cloak is a dead Black Widow. Because you really need to get that salvo off, and you can of course spec this for prolonged, but I haven't had too much luck with that build. I prefer the uncloak, get all your missiles away, do a ton of damage, cloak up, and many of the cooldowns are actually pretty short, so you can get them up and get ready to attack again pretty fast. But the fact that you just cloak up, even though it's just for a couple of seconds, it means that your enemies are beginning to focus on someone else, and only the most skilled players will know that as soon as I'm decloaking again, they should switch back to the target. People have a tendency to try and stick to the same target they're currently shooting at until they can kill it. So being able to cloak up all the time can be a very, very strong advantage, because it's gonna force your enemies to switch target. Anyway, we have less than a minute until Gamma unlocks. We still have jump access to the enemy base. I'm considering here getting some distance to the Gamma sector to try and get into the enemy base, but I can see the amount of people that showed up, and we are only 1 ship here, so I decided to move back in toward having my eye on that Colossus again. Hoping that I can get some at least a good volley in at this guy. I do need to attack him at least twice, I think, before I can actually take him down completely. But look at that, now all the enemy ships have left their home base. Meaning we are now beginning to cap very, very quickly. We have the Raider trying to jump out. He actually manages to get out, killing our... was that a Raven, I think? I get my first attack off towards the Colossus. He's at around half health. I managed to cloak up, and I can now sit here. He cannot shoot back at me, waiting for my missiles, waiting for all my weapons to recharge. Getting into position where I can attack him and quickly get into cover if I need. I can both go down and get into cover, and I can go behind the pillar. There we go. They managed to cap Gamma. Remember, you do not get cap points when you are cloaked, so you have to be decloaked in order to help towards the cap process. And there we go. The Colossus is dead. I'm trying to move out, trying to get in cover from the brawler here, so I can cloak up. There we go. And as soon as I cloaked up, I changed direction. Don't want him to have a lucky shot and decloak me. Expecting him to jump. There we go. He did indeed jump. Very easy kill right there. And then there's just the super lifter. I should be able to get this guy down. I almost have a full magazine now. Managed to get some armor breaking missiles off. Getting some damage in. Getting help from the Watchman. Not quite enough. And there we go. Managed to reload one of my missiles and kill him. I'm on very low health, so even though we don't anymore. We had jump access for a minute there. But I decided that it's best to go back to my home station, get some repairs, because I am at a sliver of health. If anybody just as much as sneezes near this ship, it's going to fall apart. So get back, get some repairs. It's always better to save your ship, go back and get the repairs. It might take you 20-30 seconds to do, but it's a lot faster than the respawn time, especially in the late game. So you're often much better off saving your ship, get the repairs, and then get back into combat.
Repairs complete. Now let's get back in the action.
So there we go. We now have our ship fully repaired. We have 3 ships moving forward in beta, so I decided to go to alpha. In case there's a lone enemy ships over here trying to get some easy points from our mining stations. I should be able to take that guy out. And I'm not cloaking up right now because I'm expecting I'm alone in the sector. I see the blink for someone jumping in and I cloak up immediately. So it's the Colossus. A bit unfortunate, cannot kill that guy in one volley. So I'll probably have to try and wait for him to get this far into the sector, probably around the middle station, that even when people jump in, they're going to be outside their effective range. They cannot really help him from that distance. So I'm just hiding behind the rock here, trying to see if I can get around him. Around the back of him, I realized that we're just running either way around the rock. So I changed direction, hoping to find him just as I pass around the rock. And indeed, there he is. We saw another enemy ship jump in here. And there it is. It's the Raider, I think. No, it's Displacer. Sorry. Yeah, try to shield myself from the Displacer here. Only want to really attack one ship at a time if it's at all possible. And this is why you see me hold back here. I don't want to attack when there's 2 ships. I just hear a friendly ship jump in. From the incoming fire, it looks like our Raider. He's opening up on the Colossus, so I'm following his lead, decloaking, breaking his armor, and firing off all my missiles there. Look at that damage. I think we did over 7,000 damage to him. Cannot cloak at the moment. So I open up fire on the Displacer. He's now at a good distance. Don't think he can do that much damage to me out here. Should be able to avoid most of the fire. But it looks like our Raider has him under control. But just in case, fire a few of the shots. And there we go, we managed to kill him. Again, as soon as we're done with the attack, we cloak up. And we begin to move into position to our next attack. And in this case, that will probably be capping the other forward station, or not forward station, mining station. But now we see nothing. That's the super lifter this time. Super lifter taking a heavy damage from our Watchman, who's now in this sector. He's almost dead now. Don't even want to bother decloaking for that. Well played by our Watchman, killing him very easily. Notice here, ship decloaks automatically when you get inside the sphere. Here comes the Raider. Outside the bubble, cloak up again as soon as we cap it. Wait for him to engage someone else, and then we attack. And there we go, he's dead. Cloaking up again, expecting more enemy ships to come in. So ideally I want them to attack someone with a little bit more armor than I do have. Which is why I cloak up. Of course I have to decloak. I will be decloaked as soon as I move in. Someone else caps the station before I manage to, and I jump at the exact wrong moment just as people are jumping in. But people are jumping back, trying to get back and protect the home base, realizing that we are all jumping in right now. There we go, Colossus is back as the only ship. Fire my drain missiles. Look at the amount of drain that it gets. These missiles are very effective. But we have most of my team rushing into the base, and we managed to cap it before they could get enough ships in to help our capping process, and that's it. It was a very short game, but I think it was very action-packed for the length of the game, and I hope it showcased how you can play the Black Widow and how I like to play it. I hope you found the video useful. If you did, give it a like down below and consider becoming a Patreon. Link in the description down below, and also if you haven't done that already, subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot to me. And until next time, I'll see you guys in space.